Welcome back guys to my Mumunting channel. Another pa-unbox segment again. For today's episode, I'll be unboxing and give a review about this Hoyoma buffing machine, or also known as a electric polisher. Plus, I'll be talking about Hoyoma, the supposedly company itself. So, stick around.
So this is what the front looks like. Most of the text here are written in English. Here's the side view, which has some technical specs. And below it is an email address. Take note of it because later on I'll be discussing it. And at the back, it's just the same as the front, but this time around, the texts are written in Japanese. There's no design on the bottom, and the other side is just similar to the opposite side. And lastly, the top only has the brand name. Okay, so let me just unbox this for you. So what you'll get is a wrench when you have to remove the base pad. The base pad with the Velcro. I think mine has some quality control issues. An additional handlebar that is optional for better grip and handling. Instruction manual. A single wool pad. And finally, the polisher itself. Basing on the tip of the wire, this is most probably not distributed here to be sold locally, mostly imported and sold by individuals. I'm having some doubts about this at first glance, but I really hope that this made in Japan thing here is a legitimate claim that this polisher is really made in Japan.
Its build is good, and its texture feels good to the touch. It's made of hard plastic, obviously, and it feels like it will survive some minor accidental drops. It's not that slippery to hold, so you can grip it as well. Also, thanks to this rubber portion right here. This is absurd to say, but hear me out on this. There are still equipments of any type, not just this one, that is out there that is usually made out of plastics just to cut cost. Some of them, not all, they're plastic that is so cheap, you could feel it's so smooth to the touch, and it's kinda dangerous in terms of grip. And because of that, sometimes you can already judge the item because of it. For people with sweaty hands, don't worry. They also included a handle grip, which will boost your grip for this kind of equipment. It's just that this one does not have some rubber textures on it. There are holes for ventilation, which is really good and handy because this polisher draws a lot of heat even when only used for a couple of seconds, which is also normal for these kinds of power tools with a powerful motor. It has a rotary dial below here for changing the speeds, ranging from 1 to 6. But for my personal insights though, regarding about this dial here, right here, I find this one absurd because when you change the number, you can feel the speed changes as well, and also the power increases. Your instinct will tell you that this is the correct position to align the number, but visually, you won't know if you have selected the proper number correctly.
I hope you can see this because this has 5 lines before coming to a new number, and those lines are not just designs for grip. They also changes the speed. So it looks like 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, and 1.5. Well, this is just one of my nitpickings for this item, but I wish they include a mark here like an arrow or something. And
I hope they would listen to me and improve with this in the future. The wire, it's not long enough, and actually that's not entirely a bad thing. But most probably, you'll end up using an extension cord when you plan to use this, which is kind of a bummer. But to be fair, the quality of the wire, it feels pretty good.
this button here is used for holding the trigger. In car terminologies, it's like letting them be on a cruise control. This can only be pressed when you pull the trigger until you hear a click sound, and that's it. To undo this, you just have to pull the trigger again, but a little bit deeper this time around. For the trigger, its sensitivity does not give you that fluid experience every time you press it. It just goes on and on a constant speed, and its speed will always be dependent on the number that you chose. In short, there's no trigger sensitivity here. Upon clicking the trigger, the first thing that you'll feel is a dead spot before you could feel the click. You will only trigger the motor after feeling that click. Maybe because this thing is actually new or I'm just dumb, I don't know. But this dead spot thing here is also not that of a big deal either. I believe this is intentionally made for some safety reasons. But the big deal for me here is that when you want to change the base plate or backing plate, whatever you prefer to call it, I got used to a Dremel by the way, and I know they are both different kinds of tools, but I just can't avoid doing a comparison. In a Dremel, there is a button that you could press to lock the motor on its place, preventing it from spinning when you are about to remove the drill bit. That thing was so helpful in securing the drill bits on its place in terms of locking and unlocking. Unlike here, it does not have that kind of feature. You'll have to literally just use the included wrench for you to remove the base plate or the backing plate here and hope for the best.
Okay, so I have already tested it out on my car for buffing my headlights. Before, it's really faded and hazy. It's almost at the point that I have given up on it and wanted to replace this, but my budget just restrained me from doing so. Anyway, I use it here, as you can see, and it gave it a new life. This product works as it should be. I just noticed though that when I gently press it on the surface of the thing that I was about to buff, when I say gentle, I really mean gentle. The motor is being restrained so bad, making it spin slowly and generate more heat. It would make some low sounding noises whenever you could feel resistance. This is really some common sense here, but it's just weird because it's a sponge material that I could press effortlessly. There are some tutorials online wherein you really have to press the sponge more on the surface, like 20 to 30% of the sponge as instructed. But on my experience, I was only able to press it like 5 to 10% only of the sponge. I know we also have to consider the sponge that is being used. Just like on a rubber material used on a skateboard, we also have to take into consideration the durometer of the material. Anyway, it just feels weird for me. About its replaceable parts like the sanding paper and also this one, well, you might also have a hard time when you look on your local hardware stores or even on the malls. When you look for something that is compatible with this polisher, just like I did. Don't fret because there's still a chance to find one online. I managed to buy these pads online because it's not offered on our local hardware stores, not even on some malls. I haven't tried it out yet due to the pandemic, but maybe we have a higher chance of finding compatible pads with this polisher on a bigger hardware stores like in Home Depot or Wilcon Depot. But for sure, online shopping would be your best go-to place. If ever you destroy this yellow pad here which has this velcro on it, good luck though.
By the way, if you're interested to know more details about these sponges and why are there so many of them, head over to the Chemical Guys YouTube channel. They have tons of videos explaining things mostly for restorations and whatnot. They have so many tutorial videos there and most of them are redundant to be honest, but I still wanna recommend them for you. They have some videos there that tackles these sponges that could really help you out when deciding what to pick for that specific job that you wanna do. I'm not sponsored by them, but they are welcome. Wink wink.
Overall, the quality is not great, but rather, their quality is based on their prices. And this one, it felt good to be honest. Usually and on a typical mindset, if it's expensive, most of the time, it's durable and of highest quality. If it's on a mid-range, it's on an acceptable level. If it's below the usual, it's kinda scary. But if it's really dirt cheap, it's most probably a trash. Most people that's on the market for hardwares, power tools, equipments, specifically for the automotive world, would probably have heard or known about this Hoyoma brand. If people are unaware of its origins, most people would assume that it's a Japanese brand because of the name Hoyoma Japan. Some would even think it's the usual, a Japanese brand only manufactured in China because most personals on a hardware store thinks that all items are made in China. But only a few of them would only think that maybe this is a poser individual or a desperate Chinese businessman trying to fool people by riding the hype train of Japanese quality. Because we all know if it's made in Japan, it's an absolute greatness in quality because there are strict quality control compliances. Unlike when you mentioned that it's made in China.
Hoyoma Japan, your products are really good. Many people love and support your products. So for me, I'd like to give some advices to the founders of Hoyoma Japan. Number one is to please use a much more professional email address and domain. It will increase the appeal and professionalism of your brand. Second is to please open branches to where you sell your products or open branches to countries where you sell your products so that people can send in their items for warranty purposes and out of warranty repairs. And last but not the least, please do have a customer support. like via chat or calls, so that you could entertain inquiries and do some proper assistance to your customers. My fourth advice would be to please stick to one color, because there's gonna be some confusion about the legitimacy of some products, since there are green colored machines and there are some orange colored machines. Most people don't know the difference of the green ones that you're selling to the orange ones. And as a brand, it kinda distorts the image or the color that represents your brand. Take as an example the other brands like Bosch, they have navy blue in color, and then Lotus for being yellow, Black & Decker for being orange, and so far and so forth. Having a specific color will have your brand have an identity on the power tools market. So those are my advices for the founders of Hoyoma Japan. I don't know if they would be able to notice this video, but I do hope so that they would consider my advices. Now to sum it all off, if you guys are gonna ask if I would recommend this product, definitely yes. They are a good brand and thus somehow have a good quality on their products. We on Wheels and Chill already have like 3 or 4 Hoyoma products and we honestly love them. And plus, if that Japan made in Japan label is true, then you'll know this is a money well spent. Okay, thank you for watching. Stay safe. God bless.